Hi folks, and welcome back to another Travels of Red Rover. I'm Sean, and Corrine is still busy doing laundry from our last trip. This week we're doing something a little different. We're going to go back to Butler Wash Road, and we're going to do some hiking to a really interesting archaeological site along the road. But first, we have to get there.
So the road 262 going between the Highway 191 and back out to Butler Wash is a pretty easy road. Dirt and gravel. You wouldn't even need to air down or have four-wheel drive lifted to do this road.
Corrine just told me that when we came around the corner there, there's a little Y just before you get to the corner, and the road name changes from 262 to 230. So that was kind of odd. So if you're following along in a map, you'll probably see that change. So Corrine and I found a little wet area coming through on the road. Cattle like this area. They're all over the place.
Lots of green grass.
And there's lots of, Corrine says there's lots of green grass. Some nice cottonwoods for shade. It's actually kind of a pretty little area. I'm sure if it was raining or wet down here, this area might be a bit tricky to drive through.
Here you get a good view of the Combe Ridge, the White Hills in the distance there, as we come down to the Butler Wash Road. And these extend a long, long way. Part of our BDR came up the east side, and part of the BDR we did previously went down the west side, so you get two views of it. There's a number of hikes along the east side that are good for seeing various ruins.
But you need
a permit from the BLM, which you can get online, and it's for the Cedar Mesa.
And it's a lot more expensive than it actually says on the advertising. So we are here at the trailhead, and we're going to go for a little hike up to see some of the archaeological features. So, Corrine, where are we this morning?
We're going to go and do a hike on the Combe Ridge just off Butler Wash Road, and this hike goes to Monarch Cave, which is a archaeological site with some ancient ruins.
Now,
the first part of our hike goes down into the wash, and then you go by these tall willow-like plants, and then you're going to go up from the wash, and as you go through these low areas you'll see a number of cottonwood trees, and most of them are starting to leaf out now in late April. They make a nice little shady area if you get hot on your hike. Once you come out of the wash, you'll go over some slick rock areas. Just follow the rock trail and it will guide you from one side of the trail to the other, where you'll see more of the footprints. We found a little tiny cactus that's in flower down here as we cross the trail. So after our first wash and then crossing a slick rock area, we came into a second wash, and we're walking up the wash. It's dry, but it's very sandy, some nice flowers along the way, and it's down below the tree canopy, which is really nice to keep you cool. So we're enjoying. Sean called it a forest walk, but it's not quite a forest. As we follow the wash up our trail, some nice rock walls on one side, and we've been passing some beautiful oak trees that are just leafing out with their new fresh coat of leaves.
Absolutely gorgeous.
About 3/4 of a mile into the hike, You'll see a large rock on your right-hand side, and there's a few rock cairns marking the trail, so you want to come up to your right following the rock cairns. Well, we've climbed up out of the wash, followed the rock cairn trail, followed the sand footprints, and we found the cave and some of the ruins. Beautiful sight from here, nice overview. It's pretty early in the morning, and we're facing a little bit to the west, so it looks like the light on this is really good for the morning light. Well, we took an upper pathway to get higher up along the cave wall, and we found that they have nice new stakes and chains to keep you from going all the way up to the ruins up there. But there is a really good view. There's some interesting walls that are perpendicular to the cave, and then also corners visible, and then an interesting, almost circular-like structure visible there in the sunshine. And Sean was commenting that if you look to the right along the ridge, there's a bunch of rocks here at the top that look like they could have been part of more structures that came along underneath the cave wall. So there's also a lower trail marked by chains. Sean's following it, and it comes to a dead end where you can look up and view the ruins from below. Here's our view from the lower trail looking up. Pretty good lighting. There's some shadows back there, but you can see that round tower-like structure quite clearly in the sunlight, and more walls to the left. And it would get good protection from that overhang of rock over there. But also this rock would be a good cascade point for any rain and snowfall. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had means of collecting water near their structures. And then it continues down below, and you can see lush green growth way down there in the wash. Sean's identified a pool of water down there in a lower cave.
So right below the buildings, there is another cave way down in the bottom there, and I can see water down in that cave. People have left lots of little stone shards along the big flat rocks at by the gate or by the fence, and they all look pretty cool, like they might have been used at one time for various functions such as scraping and cutting. Here's another piece that we think might have been a piece of pottery because it has definite lines in it. They go all the way through. It's like someone's actually made this. If you walk just to the left of the main archaeological structure, you'll find some pictographs. Mostly they're hands and little square objects. I'm not sure exactly what they were. You'll also find, if you go a little further along, these holes in the wall. And it took us a long time to figure it out. In fact, we had to be clued in by some of the other folks that were up there. This was probably where they pushed the posts in that may form part of the roof for that end of the structure. And there are quite a few of them. The interesting thing is there's often a little pictograph just above them. And we have no idea what this means, but it's almost like someone's put a little building drawing in above the holes.
Just down from where the ruins are, you can see all these cottonwood trees all leafed out. You get a sense of the vegetation and that it might have quite a bit of water just under the surface. Off to the right-hand side of the trail, on the upper level, there's an ammo box that is filled with wonderful historical, archaeological information that you can read about this site and about the peoples that lived here.
All told, it took us about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to walk in and spend some time looking at the ruins and then walking back out. And as you can see, we were very blessed in the early spring with a lot of spring flowers. Well, we're both just a little out of breath. We just ran up the hill from the wash. So, Cream, what did you think of the trail?
Finished our walk to the Monarch Cave. It was wonderful. Lots of flora and fauna. Even scared up a snake.
Yeah.
Which startled me as much as him.
Crean jumped 20 feet into the air when she saw that snake. Good thing it wasn't a rattler, though.
No, and it ran off from me. We really enjoyed it. Lots of sights to see out there. Springtime is beautiful. The temperature was great. And also there was a lot of flora and fauna.
Yeah, it was a really good time. As Crean said, we got a lot of flowering plants out there, which we didn't expect. It was beautiful walking under the cottonwood canopy most of the way out in the wash. It was actually a lot of fun and a cool place to go. Actually, the payoff at the end was definitely worth the walk, but quite frankly, the walk was worth the walk on the way out. It's really quite lovely. Well, after we finished our hike, it was time to start heading home. Along the way, we found this really incredible campsite along Highway 95 in BLM area. And it gave us a chance to do a little drone photography of this incredible arch, which we enjoyed greatly. We sure hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, we'd sure appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, and we know most of the people that are watching have not subscribed, we'd sure appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel. And while you're down there, if you could hit that bell button, be notified when we release videos, that would also be very helpful. And don't forget to leave us a comment, a thought, an idea, or just say hi. We'd love to hear from you, and we answer all our comments. And until next time, bye for now.